First story. Wife had multiple affairs virtually. Need advice? I, 31M, found out that my wife, 27F, had cheated on me throughout the course of at least 1 year with 5 different individuals. This came as no surprise to me. I had suspected something for a very long time, but she constantly told me that I was just being jealous and controlling, gaslit me into not digging deeper. She also wouldn't give me the full extent of it until the wife of one of the guys she cheated with reached out to me, exposing her. Now that I know the truth, she's trying to play it down by insisting that it was never physical. However, she sent nudes to these guys and had phone or FaceTime sex with them multiple times. She also involved our daughter in the affairs with a few of them, calling or FaceTiming them so they could talk to my daughter and get to know her, making plans to leave me to be with them, and telling them that they could raise her and be her dad. At first, she swore up and down that it's been over for a long time, and begged me to give her another chance. When I wasn't willing to commit to not divorcing her, she enlisted her family, my in-laws, in making a game plan for divorce just in case. The first thing they did was come up with an agreed-upon narrative that I was abusive and even committed marital rape. When I found out about their little plan, she shut it down immediately and blocked everyone in her family, and said she was wrong for doing that and she was just scared. Won't do it again, etc. Now she's back to I will do anything. Please don't divorce me. I'll get a flip phone. We can make this work. I will give you better. I also found out that she lied to me about her birth control when we got married. She told me it was only 3 guys, but it's actually 22. I also found out she's had a sex addiction for years and has been using vibrators and toys on herself while I'm at work and hiding them from me. Not that self-pleasure is bad, but she was being secretive about it, and it honestly seems like she has a sex addiction. I'm honestly feeling stuck. If I stay with her, I'll be trapped in an infidelity-based and fractured marriage where I can never trust her again, especially after she involved my daughter. And the odds of her cheating again are high. But if I leave her, she will enlist her family again, and I will get raked over the coals despite never doing anything wrong. And at the very least, I will be destroyed financially because she's been a sum for 5 years. In this economy, I can't afford to support myself plus child support and alimony calculated off projected income. And the idea of shared custody of my daughter is intolerable to me. Bringing other men around her, my in-laws getting to raise her, I can't do it. I don't have any support where we live because all my family is on the East Coast. We're on the West Coast. My wife had virtual sexting affairs with 5 different people over a year or more. She involved our daughter by letting them meet her online and making plans to leave me for them so they could be her stepdad. She's begging for another chance despite lying and covering it up for so long, even though I suspected something. Update. Anyone opted to stay in an unfulfilling, post-infidelity marriage? If so, what advice? My wife, 27F, cheated on me, 32M, after 5 years of marriage. I was always a devoted husband, did the lion's share of housework and child care, worked hard to give her a lavish lifestyle, and always courts her through dates and vacations. She cheated on me by sending nudes and sexting 5 different guys for over a year. I discovered it about a year ago. I decided, based on her immature and irresponsible behavior, that our daughter would not be safe with her. She is lazy, reckless, and has no concept of financial or personal responsibility. My daughter needs her dad around in order to protect her from the life she would have with her mom 50% of the time. So I decided to keep my mind focused and keep executing my plans so that I can continue giving my daughter a good life. And I always keep a hand extended to my wife in case she ever decides to change her ways. She may take it and she may not, but at least I'll live my life and die knowing that I was a good father and the person I wanted to be. However, it gets to be heavy sometimes being neglected and unfulfilled in this marriage. Truthfully, I don't believe I'd ever be fulfilled by another woman anyway, as our modern culture has become so inundated with women who feel justified in cheating when they're not happy and calling men who decry female infidelity as insecure or toxic. Any advice on how to find some level of fulfillment as a man in my current situation? My wife cheated on me and the marriage sucks. I'm staying to protect my daughter from the danger her mother would put her in. It's still not fun in the slightest. Any advice? Second story. Wife spent the night with another man. Sorry for the long post. I will try to make this as short as I can while giving as much relevant information as possible. I'm hoping hearing some words of advice or support might help. It's been about 3 weeks since D-Day, when I found out my WW of 20 years cheated on me when she had a night out drinking with some colleagues from her previous workplace. We are both in our 40s. So far I've not found it any easier to function with the feelings I have and still feeling physically unwell with headaches, stomach discomfort, tight chest, short of breath. Backstory: we recently sold our house to move closer to the city and teenage kids' school. Our relationship hadn't been very good for a while, and we were both not treating each other very nice, and had agreed to separate for a bit with a view to reset our marriage. Well, my wife rented with the kids, and I chose to stay with her father. One of the kids actually asked why we were separating, and was it because of cheating, and my wife told them no. If something like that happened, we wouldn't be planning on getting back together. The plan was to buy another house within 6 months and move back in together. It was after 2 months apart, although still seeing each other almost every day, that this happened. During this time I worked hard on myself and did all I could to make our relationship better. Taking her out on dates, inviting to go for walks, tidying her house, cooking dinners, etc. That night I kissed my wife goodbye as she left and told her to have a fun time. I stayed home with the kids. She ended up coming home around 5 a.m. hungover and I took care of her. She told me they all went back to one of her colleagues' house and she ended up asleep on the couch. From the way she was acting after that night, my intuition told me something had happened. It took a couple of nights, but she eventually come clean because I kept asking questions. She told me if I hadn't have kept asking she would never have told me because it meant nothing, and she knew how hurt I would be. When she came clean, she told me that after she had been dropped back off at home around midnight, instead of coming inside, she called her colleague and asked if he wanted her to come around for sex, and he agreed. She walked into his house. They kissed and undressed while making their way to his bedroom, but stopped before having sex because she felt sick and knew what she was doing was wrong. He also has a girlfriend that was away for the night. She ended up laying naked with him all night and got up and left in the morning. I'm told they did nothing else. I know how ridiculous and unbelievable that sounds, and obviously my trust is gone, and I didn't accept that and thought she was just trying to minimize. But after many conversations so far, I think maybe she might be telling me the truth. Not that it makes much difference. She laid this out all at once and the story hasn't changed. She hasn't trickled any more details. She acknowledges the fact that she had every intention of sex, and that not having sex doesn't make it any better. After I found out, she was very remorseful, guilty, knows how hurt I am, and is certain she wants to reconcile and be with me. She admitted there was no seduction involved on his part and that it was entirely her decision to do this, and she can't give me any explanation as to why she did it. She says she doesn't expect the AP will try contacting her again, and that she will tell and show me if he does. She has never tried making excuses or justifying and says nothing like this has happened before and assures me never again. We've always had access to each other's phones and are always checking locations to find the kids, etc., and nothing has raised any suspicions in the past. I'm so broken and can't make sense of my feelings. I never reacted angrily towards her, and have decided to move back in now to start R because I felt so alone, and was afraid I might hurt myself sitting alone every night with no one to talk to. I was clear that if there was anything else she needed to tell me about, then I needed to know now and not find out later. Once again she told me nothing else had happened. I never thought I would be willing to stay together if this ever happened to me, but now it's real. It's not such an easy decision to make. Nobody else knows what has happened and the only support I have is from my WW. She has organized CC, which begins in a couple of weeks. I'm thinking now though moving back in has made her think I'm feeling better. And I get the feeling she has already begun to move on while I'm feeling no better about myself at all. We talked about it a lot to begin with in the first couple of weeks, but now she's told me she doesn't want to keep talking about it because she hates what she did and doesn't want to keep remembering. I've agreed not to bring it up all the time until we start CC. Once again I feel I'm working to make things better, and I'm not getting as much from her despite how badly she wants us to work things out. I'm the one that's been betrayed and think she should still be trying to show me how sorry she is. I'm very confused and don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get over this. I still can't go more than several minutes without thinking about what she did and replaying it all in my head. I didn't think she was capable of doing anything like this. I don't love her any less and I want to be able to forgive and trust again. She tells me she wants to be with me because she loves me, but I'm afraid it's more to do with the kids and convenience. She has told me she understands if I feel the need to tell anyone else about what's happened, but I think that will just add to my shame and humiliation. Happy to hear any thoughts or advice to help me through how I'm feeling right now. Third story. I, 31M, found out that my fiancé 27F had an emotional affair lasting almost a year with a woman she met in an online game and Discord. Backstory: my fiancé 27F and I, 31M, have been together for 8 years, own a home together, and have a 3-year-old son. We have always expressed to each other how important loyalty is to each of us. I was in a relationship prior to her, 6.5 years, where I was cheated on, spoke openly about that to my current fiancé, and vowed to never tolerate cheating on a relationship for the rest of my life. Finding out about infidelity goes against everything I vowed to myself I would not tolerate in a relationship in life again. D-Day, found out 6 weeks ago that my fiancé had an emotional affair with a lesbian woman, named D, that she met through an online game. Their relationship lasted from at minimum, February 2023, November 2023. May have been longer, but that's all I could verify. The conversation started on Discord and mostly occurred there until they eventually became close enough to be texting every day. It never became physical, but it was a deep emotional connection that happened for just short of a year. The conversations they had were primarily sexual in nature and were extremely disrespectful to our relationship. A lot of porn gifs and nudes being exchanged throughout the entire time. They spoke of how badly they wanted each other and the temptation that existed knowing they lived close, 40 minutes away, and could theoretically act on it. My fiancé expressed how much she wanted D, questioned her sexuality in the convos, questioned if she should follow through with marriage, and said that she sometimes wished she could fuck other people and come home to me, among many other things. After being confronted with all of this information, she initially tried to lie through her teeth. She deleted the text thread with D in front of my face, owned up to everything, and said it was all a persona, essentially catfishing. She said that there's no excuse for it, but that she initially justified it in her head, because she felt that she was lacking emotionally within the relationship. We both had expressed this feeling prior for different reasons and were working on it. She is seemingly remorseful, apologetic, and says it'll never happen again. She deleted everything possible pretty much, so there's no way to ever know all of the details. Everything that could have been checked is completely wiped clean. Now 6 weeks later, I've had more time to process everything and am trying to make some decisions for how I want my life, our relationship, to be moving forward. I just can't help but feel like this is a lose-lose situation for me, and it infuriates me that my partner did this to me. On the other hand, we have been trying to reconcile. We have each done a couple sessions of individual therapy, one session of couples therapy, and intend on doing more. We have also been hypersexual since D-Day, and that aspect of our relationship has been better than ever. It's amazing but also slightly confusing. Fiancé says she will do anything I want her to and that I can check her phone at any time. But I also don't even like the thought of being in a relationship that requires that type of oversight. This shit sucks and I don't want to waste years of my life for nothing if the relationship will forever lack 100% trust. My questions I continue to ask myself are, will I ever be able to fully trust my partner again? Will I ever feel confident moving forward with a marriage again? Should I take her ring back, at least for now, since I don't want to marry her currently? Also, just looking for other people to talk to in similar situations as I feel pretty alone and can't share with anyone in life without them having a changed perspective on my fiancé. Fourth story. I, 40M, am not happy in my marriage to my wife, 34F, who I don't believe ever truly loved me. I desperately want out, but we have 2 children and I am reluctant to break apart the family for their sake. Should I stay and try to make it work, or should I go and seek true happiness elsewhere? Background: about 2 years into dating her, my GF cheated on me with her ex. She proceeded to gaslight the hell out of me about it. She swore it was just a mistake, but I soon found hidden social media profiles she had created to secretly search his profile up in the months after I caught her and decided to accept her apology and give her another chance. Later, after I had confronted her about the hidden profiles, I discovered that she then secretly stored her ex's number on her phone as an alt number under mom, hoping I wouldn't notice it because they both speak Spanish. This is how little respect she had for me, folks. To this day, she still claims it was only so I could block the number. Anyways, I made what turned out to be the worst mistake of my life a few months later when we hooked up again and she got pregnant. Welp, I'm still paying for that mistake 10 years later. Today we have 2 kids. Yes, they're both mine, and we fight all the time. It's a toxic and dysfunctional relationship, which shouldn't surprise anyone considering its origins. She has roughly the same amount of respect for me that she had before, only now marriage and kids have made it so we both have to suffer through it. If you're wondering, I tried to make it work for the kids, but often I wonder if that was the right decision. Anyways, I've gotten pretty fed up with her lately, and I've decided that I don't want to live the rest of my life with someone that never really loved or respected me. Looking back, I realize now how majorly I fucked up by allowing her back into my life after initially ending it. She seemed so contrite and genuine at the time, and claimed she had changed and seen the error of her ways, etc. Then all the other stuff happened. The biggest hurdle we face today is that the underlying disrespect that led to her cheating is still very much present. It just gets translated in other ways. It's incredibly triggering because I've been permanently damaged by what she did those many years ago. True to form, she insists the problem is with me, and to an extent, it is. I just want to add that I'm not exactly the model partner myself. Mind you, I've never done anything on that level, but I'm often mean, impatient, and on rare occasions verbally abusive. I don't want it to seem like this an entirely one-sided thing, though a lot of my actions stem from the trauma and psychological damage that still exists. I'm not sure if we ever had a chance at a normal relationship after that. Anyways, I filled out a petition for divorce 2 days ago, and I would really appreciate some outside perspective on whether I am making the right decision. Should I leave my wife of 7 years and break apart our family for something she did before we got married?